All right, Matthew Scafidi, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
you've just started a new business, but first of all, I'll just give a little bit of a summary. So you're a buyer and seller advocate in Melbourne,
Yep.
also an auctioneering coach. You've been
Yes.
in real estate about 14 years.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
And you've got your new business. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all,
Sure.
can you give me a little bit of a rundown about your career so far in the 14 years that you've been in real estate?
Yeah. Well, started when I was 36, so I was a bit of a late starter. I always wanted to do real estate, and I put it off for family reasons and all that sort of thing. And finally got the opportunity to do it, and jumped into it as quickly as I could. My wife said to me, "I'll give you 12 months, and if you haven't sort of done well by then, you can go back to selling boxes." So that's what I did, and that was the greatest thing that I've ever been allowed to do from my wife, I think, for professionally.
Yeah.
And so her support really helped, and yeah, got into real estate, hit the ground running there because I'd had experience in sales prior, and I always say to people thinking of getting into real estate that you've got to learn two things. You've got to learn real estate, and you've also got to learn sales. So there's two components to the business, and so I was having to learn real estate, so I was doing that really quickly with all the trainers and everything else. Back then it was CDs, so I had those in the car, full stop, going around. And from there, I had a good start in real estate. I had a lot of training. I put myself through that very early because I had no plan B really, and just had to keep going. I had a second child on the way. We were building a house, and I just left a comfortable job to go on commission only. So that was all good. Started to build a BDA area in the Mitcham, in the suburb of Mitcham in Melbourne here. And then decided to change companies to a company that was going to allow me to open a business in that suburb. So that was a great thing. We did that in 2013. That very quickly got to be a very successful business, and probably shared anywhere from 40 to 50% market share, just depending on the time there. So that was great. We had some really good people in our business at that time, and that was really good. And then so from 2013 through to 2021, ran my own business, and from there, decided that I wanted to, I suppose, do something different, something that was a little more under the radar, I suppose, a little less public, and decided that with discussion again with my wife, she's been a big part of the whole journey, being a buyer and vendor advocate, and continuing on with the things that I really enjoy, which was auctioning. And with my experience now in the industry, it's great to be able to give back in some coaching, and I'm doing some one-on-one coaching there, and I'm also doing some group coaching for a brand here in Melbourne as well. So it's a pretty full thing at the moment, and the new business is just launched officially, and as I was just saying off air, that wearing all hats at the moment, but it's great fun.
Yeah, great. So it's a Road Advocacy group.
That's correct. Yeah.
So why did you decide to go down that road of buyer advocacy?
Yeah, listen, I think that after 14 years, you get a bit of a tribe and a following, I suppose, people that know, like, and trust you, and vice versa as well. To be honest, I got sick of pitching for business, people that you'd never met, that just sort of from your profile got you in and got another 2 or 3 agents in, and you're in that competition, and they weren't really seeing value. Whereas from an advocacy side, you're there and you're representing, especially from the buyer side, you're representing somebody that they don't know what they don't know. Yeah. And it's the biggest financial decision most people will make in their life. And they go into it thinking they can do it themselves. You'd never go into a legal battle, without legal representation. Yeah. So why go into a property purchase without representation? And being on the other side, being an agent, I saw so many times how much help buyers need to be able to negotiate with the negotiators that do it sort of all day, every day. So that was a really big push for me, and just to be able to run a business that I could run to my own values, and to my own level of integrity, I suppose, and deal with people at that same level as well, or choose not to, just depending.
Yeah, awesome. So what's the benefit to the seller when you're a vendor advocate? What services do you provide?
Listen, right from property presentation. We had one recently that spent $40,000 on getting the home prepared, and that repaid them. I think we worked it out to be about 6 times.
Wow.
Made at the other end, and that was in the market, as we know about right now, that's flattening, I suppose, coming off that little bit. That property had 100 groups through the home, presented beautifully. So we did driveways, we did grass, we did landscaping, we did painting, we did carpets, we did everything. Plantation shutters throughout, and we got it styled. My wife's runs a staging business, which helps.
That's handy.
Yeah, it is. So we got it staged, and so we did everything from there. So he was a busy person. The client didn't have time to get quotes and project manage and all that. So we did everything for him there. And then we also interviewed all the agents as well. So when we interview agents, we don't just go on to realestate.com and select the number one in the area. We go in and we do a little bit more deep dive research to find out whether that number one agent, if that number one agent is just all 2-bed apartments and we're selling a family home, or vice versa, we want to make sure we get the agent in that's qualified for that actual size accommodation in the location. So, and also we've got to deal with good people. The thing that I've learned over the last 14 years is that it's a big industry. I've met hundreds and hundreds of agents over that time, and as we were just saying off air before as well, the majority of those agents are great agents. There are a minority that you want to avoid as a vendor, and that's the thing, I think, because everyone's spruiking their number one. There's 5 number ones in any given area.
Yeah, there is.
So what we do is we pick those agents for them, interview, pick them, select them, and then we actually work with that agent. We don't just hand it over like some advocates do, and say, well, I'll see you at the other end. We're the conduit between seller and agent the whole way through. So we protect our sellers against, the chipping away on price and all that sort of thing. And we make sure that they're looked after. The other thing too that we offer that's a little bit different is that I'll do the auction if it is an auction as well. So I think that's really important, because the vendor and ourselves are on one side, I suppose, and the agent is dealing with the buyers, and that's all the agent needs to worry about. Because some of the best agents around the country, they're not auctioneers. So we get to actually use the best agent. We add myself as an auctioneer, and then they work the buyers. I deal with the vendors, and we negotiate when need be. So, that generally, that process I've found today has paid dividends back to our vendors, and it takes a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, and probably time and effort that agents traditionally in their business model don't have to spend. It could take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to get the home prepared and ready in that process.
Yeah, great. Okay. And so what's the benefit to a buyer when you're the buyer advocate? So on the other side of the equation.
I think, as I said earlier, that you don't know what you don't know. And it's one of those things as a buyer, when you're purchasing the biggest asset of your life, you've got all these people talking to you. I call them SPOs sometimes, sales prevention officers. Their family, their friends, they only want the best for you. But unfortunately, sometimes they've only bought perhaps 1 or 2 homes in their time, and they're trying to give you advice from buying pre-internet, for example. Whereas with the buyer's advocate, I'm dealing with a gentleman from Sydney at the moment. He's up there, he's sold. We've found a property that we've started to negotiate on at the moment. Excuse me. And, he we're his feet on the ground. So we're doing open for inspections. We're sending him videos. We're sending him photos. We're sending him information on each of those properties. We're looking at properties that are under his budget, above his budget, and right on his budget. So he has a really good understanding of the market.
Yeah.
And going into a negotiation, you're dealing with agents that that do it for a living each and every day. And I think from a buyer advocate side of things, being an agent for 14 years prior, it allows me to know what motivates agents, how they like things to work.
Well, you've been in the game, haven't you? You know how it works. Yeah.
Correct. 100%. I always say that, listen, at the end of the day, with our clients, we save them time, we save them a lot of stress, and we save them a lot of money as well, because the old there's other buyers interested and all that sort of thing. There are means to find out whether that is actually true. And if you don't know how to go about that, if you're just putting an offer in and leaving it on the table for the 3 business days, are you doing that, or are you giving a 24-hour cutoff? All these things, why the vendor's selling, and then what's their settlement date that they look for. We bought a home for a lovely couple not too long ago, simply based on tweaking their settlement. They could do 30 days, but they were offering 90. So we brought it back to 30. And we changed the finance clause from 21 days to 7 days, because we spoke to the broker and we got that clarified as well. And in doing so, we actually purchased a home. They would have paid an extra $15,000 if they needed to. They didn't need to. So we saved them money. We got them the home, and we saved them time as well. They'd missed 4 homes prior to engaging us. So
so you do catch out some agents sometimes when they say there's 3 buyers and there's not.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
How embarrassing.
We've all seen it, and we've all over the journey. But at the end of the day, I saw a stat the other day that only 3% of buyers are being represented by buyer advocates at the moment, and they see that increasing to about 20% by 2025. So
and why do they think that is? Just
well, I think that we're time poor. These days as well. So we are time poor, and you're dealing with people that are on an emotional roller coaster. You look at interest rate rises and all those sort of things at the moment, and they need somebody to guide them and to say, listen, if stock market has crashed and we've got $100,000 to invest in the stock market, are we going to buy it when the market's crashed, or are we going to buy it when the market's at its peak? And they always answer the same: at the bottom, when it's crashed. And I go, well, why aren't you doing that with your property? Seems sometimes that buyers need to see 3 or 4 other bidders at an auction. They need to pay $100,000 over the reserve to feel comfortable to proceed. Whereas if they're at an auction and they're the only bidder, they start to worry and think, am I paying too much? And that's where we hear of paying too much.
Yeah, so true. So true. All right. And so what's the benefit of you doing this to other real estate agents?
Well, listen, I think that, we want to work with agents. Okay. So I've said to a number of agents that, if you've got a buyer that, you see miss out time and time again, well, send them through to me. We'll look after them. We'll look after you in return. And the great thing about that as well is that, if we've got a relationship with that agent in the area, then when we've got something to actually sell in the area, well, we'll get them on the list of people to interview as well. So this is a people business at the end of the day. And people want to deal with people that, as I said earlier, that they know, like, and trust. And I think that, I don't want to be that known as that advocate that is, asking, are we on the market yet? And,
not causing trouble.
Not causing trouble.
No.
I want to work with people, and I've had some buyer advocates over the years that have been fantastic to deal with, and that's how we want to represent ourselves at a boat advocacy group as well. We want to be known as, no, not those guys here. We want to be known as, it's great, they're here. They'll treat us with respect, and they'll probably get us started, and hopefully finished as well. So,
yeah. And depending on you know, what happens with the market too, you know, there's going to be agents that ringing you saying, please, have you got someone, you know, I've had this, I'm going to lose the listing, I'm going to lose this, please, have you got a buyer? Like the last couple of years, it's been like, we don't need you. Whereas now they're going to start to sort of go, you know, please, if you've got any buyers, let me know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the time as well, Lisa, is that what we're seeing is that vendors want to test the market first now before actually going to market. They're a little bit hesitant, a little bit nervous. So, you know, off-market and pre-campaign opportunities are really good. We've been through a number of those this week. And that's the other thing for, you know, a buyer engaging an advocate. They just don't have that ability to tap into that pre-campaign off market.
There's so many agents doing the closed VIP groups and things like that. So if you're in all those groups, then you can keep an eye on those ones. You know, some sellers don't want to do the whole auction campaign. They don't want to have the signs out and everything. So there is a way that they can do that now, like a you know, a bit more low key, isn't there? So
correct.
You know,
you're
up on that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and that's what I always say. I always say to buy clients, I say, well, you know, you can choose to do it yourself and go out. I think that you'll probably end up coming back to us, and they often do. But you won't have access to this off-market opportunities. And they say, well, sometimes they say, well, can you let us know about the off-market opportunities, and we'll continue to look ourselves? And I go, no, that's not how it works, because you know, we've got to give all our clients the same amount of time and, you know, due diligence. So it'd be unfair to do a bit for you and take away from other people that are engaging us. So,
exactly. And you'll probably get like Brad Pitt when he wants to buy a property out here. He'll probably get you to look for him, because he's not going to want to go to the open houses by himself. I think he's going to go to Simon
Cohen, actually. I think
he'll go to you. He'll go to you. Like all the famous people will go to you and just go, no, I'm going to get Matthew to do it, and then I don't have to go to open houses and all that. So, you know, soon it'll be the celebrity buyer and seller advocate. I'm picking it. I'm picking it.
Awesome.
All right. So what else do we need to know about your business? Obviously, your wife's got the staging component as well.
So that's a great thing, and you know, it's good synergy there. So she's been running that for 7 years, so she runs a great business there. So I think that the trades that we deal with, they're great people, they're great tradesmen as well, and they're reliable. And I think that that's one of the big things for sellers as well, is that they just say, so you're going to manage all the trades, and you go, and they go, oh, done. All good. So I think that what we're going to see is it's going to be a lot like America. I think in the next sort of 10 to 15 years, like you go 10, 15 years back with staging, and people used to say, what's staging? Do we really need it? All that sort of thing. Now it's like you can't do without it. And I do feel that our market's heading that way in the next 10 to 15 years. I think that buyers will be represented, sellers will be represented, and it'll be, you know, two agents doing the deal, getting it done. Well,
like you said, that's the way it is in America. They've got the buyer agent and the seller agent on both sides, don't they?
Yeah, correct. And I think that, you know, that is heading here, and the exciting part for us is that we're on that journey early. And,
you know what? You're probably right. Actually, you know, the more people get caught out, or you know, that there's that conflict of interest. And that's brought to the forefront more so. It probably will, actually, you know.
Well, that's the thing. It's I mean, our tagline is on your side, and it's as simple as that. We are on our client's side, and we've got no other interests whatsoever. We're not dealing with the buyers if we're on a seller's side, for example. So, you know, we've all had the buyer say, if you help me buy this, you can sell mine, and all that sort of thing. So there's no conflict there. Correct. And when you're dealing with the buyer side, you know, you're basically you're working for them solely and trying to get them their property, doing it the right way, and you know, hopefully building really strong professional relationships along the way.
Yeah, great. Okay. And what would you say to any real estate agents that are looking at following the same path as you, going into the advocacy? It's a hard word to say, isn't it? Advocacy. Advocacy.
Exactly. But listen, if agents were thinking of doing so, I think that you need to do your apprenticeship as such in real estate first.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the old school sort of advocates, people used to say, that they're the ones that if you can't become an advocate sort of thing. So they were failed real estate agents.
Oh
And
God,
I
yeah.
think that stigma's now gone. But I think that agents need to do, their apprenticeship in real estate first. And I think that if you understand that part, then you can actually impart a lot of good advice and experience to your clients. And that's a really important part of it. I think that it goes full circle. You do that part and then you move into this. And it also gives you that ability, as I said earlier, to work with people that like and trust, and not have to be in that chook lotto, I suppose, that so many agents are each and every day. And if there are agents, and this is the thing, if there are agents out there that are watching this and going, yeah, I'm sick of the chook lotto as well, and they've been in it 5 or 6 years, then it might be something for them to think about and to move into, because at the end of the day, it's they can run their own business, they can deal with their own clients, and it's a satisfying thing to do. I'm really enjoying it.
Good. Yeah, like you said, I think it's good. You need the experience of being in sales, being in the game, knowing how how the transactions work on both sides, and then and then in your position, you're either working for the buyer solely or you're working for the vendor solely. So you're getting that perspective of both sides then. Yeah,
exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we wish you all the best with your new business. And and I'll put your details on the bottom of the video and everything as well.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so what is your website actually?
The website is abodeadvocacygroup.com.au.
All right, perfect. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and all the best in your new business.
Thanks, Lisa. See ya. Bye.
Thanks. See ya.